What I hate about Airbnb short-term rentals. This is a part two series. I don't like to use the word hate. Let's call it biggest challenges, okay? Because while there are so many countless reasons as to why I love owning an Airbnb short-term rental business, you will be faced with along your journey major challenges that you will need to learn to overcome, almost to the point where you got to ask yourself, is this truly worth it? Do I actually love having an Airbnb business or do I actually hate it? Now, last week I revealed to you why I love Airbnb's short-term rental business so much in a part one series to this. So you could check out that video at the end of this video. I'll leave a link in the description and probably right at the end. But let's get down to some of the challenges you're going to face because I want to provide you with some tips on how to overcome these challenges so you don't run away scared. There is a silver lining at the end of any tunnel. Take it from me, an experienced host, and let's dive right in. Hi everybody and welcome back. I'm Edward Builder, millionaire, real estate investor, entrepreneur, coach, educator, engineer, dad. That's me in a basic nutshell. Remember, this is the all access pass channel to everything cash flow, capital, and credit to ensure you have the right financial literacies for business success. Change your mindset. Stop saying I'm in a side hustle and start saying I am open for business. I don't want to waste any time on this one. I want to get straight into some of the major challenges you're going to face as you are inside of your Airbnb business or opening it up for the first time, starting it up for the first time. We're going to get into challenge number one, and that is pleasing every guest. Now, all Airbnb hosts have their horror stories of their worst possible guests, and of course I do too. But I'm not exactly referring to that when I'm saying pleasing every guest. This is slightly more challenging because if you are not up to speed with the latest trends out there, you could find yourself being affected on your SEO. Let me explain a little bit, okay? Your goal on the Airbnb platform is to provide a guest with the highest quality stay possible at the greatest value possible, okay? So you offer the amenities that are needed to provide a very enjoyable stay during their visit. In return, you ask for that 5-star review so you can maintain a high SEO standard, high ranking on the SEO interest algorithm for Airbnb. But in return, what you actually get is a 4-star review for value for not having something like a muffin tray or an espresso machine or a towel warmer. And the guests sometimes they write it right in the review, like they didn't have a towel warmer, right? So I gave them a 4-star for value. As Airbnb grows more in popularity, more hosts enter the platform to compete, and they are bringing in more and more amenities. You actually see these appear inside the amenities list on Airbnb. So it is always good to constantly go back in there and check to make sure that you are up to the expectations of the guests and that you are answering to all the trendy needs that the guests are currently asking for. In this case, the tip is to just suck it up and buy the muffin tray to avoid that 4-star review and keep your high ranking and SEO status. See, what the guests don't actually realize is how detrimental a 4-star review is because really they're just annoyed that there wasn't a muffin tray for them to make blueberry muffins while they were staying at your Airbnb. I know, wild one, but it is a challenge you will face. Challenge number two, and this is landlords thinking they will get rich. Okay, I talk about on this channel two models, partnering and rental arbitrage. Partnering, we're finding that this is not as much of a challenge, right? Because in some cases, the landlord gives you the property without rent. They give you the property without having to put a security deposit. In some cases, they even provide the furniture. So naturally, you could start to adjust the swing of percentages. If you had to provide the furniture, maybe you're a 50-50 split. But if they are providing the furniture, maybe it's a 60-40 or maybe it's a 70-30 split, right? And you even out those percentages. But the challenge I'm talking about is something that surfaced very recently for me within the rental arbitraging model. For example, let's say I've been renting a property for approximately a year now for about $1,000 a month up to say $2,500 a month. I then arbitrage these units, I list them on Airbnb, and I earn anywhere from $4,000 to up to $10,000 after I've paid out all of my expenses. Well, as landlords are beginning to familiarize themselves with Airbnb and tools like AirDNA, they will often come back around and raise their prices of rent, thinking that since you're making more money, they too should be making more money. And I'm not just talking about like a 5% or 10% raise. I'm talking in some cases 2x or 3x. So if you are ever faced with this challenge, you need to be ready with your numbers. So you can explain to that landlord exactly what your average monthly is. Make sure they remember that there's seasonalities, if there are seasonalities, what your operating expenses are, the cost that it costs for you to carry this property, and remind that landlord that you had to invest in purchasing all of that furniture and all of the wear and tear that comes with all of that furniture, okay? You have the greater stake in this overall game, and therefore you should be getting the larger cut. Anywhere from a 70 to 30 split or an 80 to 20 split is a fair deal when you have the greater stake. Okay, so always remember that. And if the landlord just does not want to see it, be ready to cut your losses and move on to another property. It's always good to have more properties. A good portfolio is always a good idea, to have as many properties as you possibly can. Get yourself cleared over and start migrating over to the ownership side where you own the properties. After you've accumulated some wealth, you can start buying these properties as well, and then you will always control the deal. Challenge number 3 is a very interesting one, and this is real estate is becoming harder to purchase. That's right. Just buying the property is becoming more and more challenging. We're seeing right now that inventories are at an all-time low, lower than any previous years that we've ever seen. Property values are going up through the roof, but appraisal values have not yet caught up to those new property values. As a result, what you find is that not every deal will go through, okay? You could put together 100 deals in a year, and maybe only 10 of those deals will actually go through. You find yourself wasting a lot of time, tying up a lot of money in escrow, and then for a deal that comes in under appraised, where it's requiring a higher down payment, right? Higher deposit in the beginning. So what to do in this? When you're evaluating your numbers, you must become more conservative, okay? A 5% swing in an unfavorable direction could make a deal a total loser if you're in the wrong market, right? Use a 10 to 15% fudge factor on your market research, and it always helps when you get a little creative in trying to find the right deals. If you become a problem solver for the current homeowner, you will find that this will work out to your advantage. It's almost like you need to learn the skills of wholesalers, rent to own, and lease options. Learning these skills will help you find more properties, help you acquire those properties off market, and get yourself back into the game, all right? This will certainly help you in the long run. Challenge number 4, saturated markets, okay? Now this isn't all for all markets, all right? But there are some heavy regions out there of fully saturated markets because Airbnb is gaining popularity and everybody wants to list on Airbnb. You and I want to list on Airbnb. Property managers want to list on Airbnb. Landlords want to list on Airbnb. Realtors want to list on Airbnb. You see what I'm saying here? The list goes on and on and on. And so before you know it, certain markets become extremely saturated, and it can happen fairly quickly, okay? So staying in touch with your market is very key here. It's almost like you constantly have to run analysis on certain regions through tools like airdna.co. That's air, A-I-R, dna.co. And how you run that analysis is you take your daily rate and you multiply it by the percentage of your occupancy for that region, and then you multiply that by 30 days. A profitable property is anything that averages over $1,000 net profit after all of your expenses are paid out, average throughout the whole year. A high efficiency property can net anywhere from $8,000 or greater after you paid out all of your expenses. So a tip here is don't just go with the first landlord to say yes. Find the right property in the right market, okay? And if you have low performing properties currently in your portfolio, it might be time to consider dropping those losers, okay? I'm finding that time is my biggest challenge right now. So I use all of my energy to focus on high efficiency properties. I would rather have one property earning $8,000 than have to have 8 properties earning $8,000 at $1,000 each. You see the math, how that works? Spend all of your energy and all of your focus on the high efficiency properties. Those markets are out there. You have to get a little creative and you have to find them. I thank you all for joining me on today's video. Don't forget to become a subscriber to get access to all of my future content. And remember to hit that like button. If there was something you want me to go into further detail from today's video, leave a comment down below. If you want to start an Airbnb short-term rental business and you need my help, you could find me in the description by joining my email list. I'm constantly giving out free stuff. Or don't forget, I do have a crash course found in the description that teaches you all about how to start an Airbnb. Start as little as $50, cash flow in 3 business days, earning an extra $5,000 to $10,000 each month on those high efficiency properties. If you need a one-on-one coaching call, find me in the description. I do hope you all take these actions today and join me on the next video. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Bye for now.